there is a Hall of Fame, if there is a way for coaches to get in it, there's no way, there's no world where Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Breaking news out of the NFL, and it's a stunner. 8-time Super Bowl champ Bill Belichick will not get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility.
When people talk about the greatest coaches in NFL history, one name almost always comes first: Bill Belichick. 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 31 playoff wins, the most in league history. So why has the phrase Hall of Fame snub even entered conversations surrounding his name? The short answer is this: it hasn't, at least not officially. Bill Belichick is not yet eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but the debate surrounding how his legacy will be judged has already begun, and it centers on one complicated question: was the dynasty about Belichick, about Tom Brady, or about both? This is not about a real Hall of Fame rejection. It is about perception and how legacies evolve before the vote even happens. Under Pro Football Hall of Fame rules, coaches become eligible for induction 5 years after they officially retire from coaching. As of now, Bill Belichick has not formally announced retirement. In January 2024, he and the New England Patriots mutually agreed to part ways after 24 seasons, but that separation does not automatically qualify as retirement. Until he officially steps away from coaching and 5 years pass, he cannot appear on a Hall of Fame ballot. That means there has been no vote, no rejection, and no official snub. The Hall of Fame process has not even begun in his case, yet some fans have already used the word snub in conversations about his legacy. That reaction reflects perception forming before eligibility exists. When a coach builds a resume that includes 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, 9 Super Bowl appearances, and 31 playoff victories, expectations about eventual induction develop quickly. Public debate can move faster than formal process. In Belichick's situation, discussion about Canton is occurring before the timeline legally allows evaluation, highlighting how legacy narratives sometimes begin years before ballots are cast. From 2001 through 2019, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady formed the most successful quarterback-coach partnership in NFL history. Over that 19-season span, the New England Patriots won 6 Super Bowl titles and appeared in 9 Super Bowls. They captured 17 AFC East Division championships and reached 13 AFC championship games. Sustained success across nearly 2 decades in a salary cap era built for parity placed the partnership in a historical category of its own. Their alignment combined elite quarterback execution with detailed weekly game planning, producing consistent postseason advancement. When Brady left New England after the 2019 season and won Super Bowl 55 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in his first year there, public conversation shifted. Meanwhile, the Patriots' records moved in a different direction. They finished 7-9 in 2020, 10-7 in 2021, 8-9 in 2022, and 4-13 in 2023. Those outcomes created a new narrative centered on attribution. Some observers began asking whether Brady had been the primary driver of the dynasty's success. That debate continues shaping legacy discussions. Even though Belichick is not yet eligible for Hall of Fame consideration, perception is evolving before the formal process begins. It is important to examine the numbers carefully when evaluating Bill Belichick's legacy. His head coaching resume includes 333 regular season victories and 31 playoff wins, the most postseason wins by any head coach in NFL history. He won 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach with the New England Patriots and earned 8 total Super Bowl rings, including 2 as defensive coordinator of the New York Giants. Those achievements place him among the most decorated figures in professional football history. Sustained postseason advancement and long-term competitiveness define the core of his record. However, it is also true that his overall head coaching record without Tom Brady as his starting quarterback is below 500. That sample includes his tenure with the Cleveland Browns from 1991 through 1995, and the Patriots' seasons following Brady's departure after 2019. Statistical splits like that do not erase championships or diminish the scale of New England's dynasty. They do, however, influence how analysts debate coaching impact versus quarterback impact. In a sport where alignment between position and system matters deeply, separating individual contribution from partnership success becomes complex. The data shapes discussion, even as the championships remain fixed in the historical record. Before his two-decade run in New England, Bill Belichick served as head coach of the Cleveland Browns from 1991 through 1995. During that period, he compiled a 36-44 regular season record. The Browns reached the playoffs once under his leadership during the 1994 season and won a wild-card game against the New England Patriots before being eliminated in the divisional round. The early years in Cleveland were marked by roster rebuilding and gradual defensive development rather than immediate success. In 1995, owner Art Modell announced plans to relocate the franchise to Baltimore after the season, creating significant instability. The announcement affected organizational focus, fan support, and overall team environment. Cleveland finished 5-11 that year, and Belichick was dismissed following the season. While context helps explain some of the challenges, that portion of his coaching record remains part of the historical record. Hall of Fame voters evaluate complete careers rather than only championship peaks. Belichick's Cleveland tenure provides contrast to his later dynasty, illustrating both early struggle and long-term evolution within his coaching journey. Between 2001 and 2018, the New England Patriots experienced one of the longest and most sustained runs of success in NFL history. Over that span, they won Super Bowl championships following the 2001, 2003, 2004, 2014, 2016, and 2018 season. The gap between titles, including a 10-year stretch between the 2004 and 2014 championships, highlighted the durability of the organization rather than a short peak window. Across those years, the Patriots consistently contended deep into January, appearing in conference championship games and maintaining division dominance in the AFC East. Sustained relevance across multiple roster cycles, assistant coach departures, and evolving league trends became a defining feature of the era. Belichick's teams developed a reputation for opponent-specific defensive schemes and weekly adaptability. Rather than relying on one fixed system, New England frequently altered alignments, coverage structures, and personnel groupings depending on the matchup. Situational football became central to their identity. The Patriots consistently ranked among the league leaders in third down efficiency, red zone defense, turnover margin, and special teams execution. Hidden yardage, field position, and discipline were emphasized as competitive advantages. Belichick earned 3 Associated Press NFL Coach of the Year awards during his tenure, reflecting league-wide recognition of his impact. He coached during an era defined by strict salary cap limits and aggressive free agency movement, factors designed to promote parity. Despite those structural constraints, the Patriots maintained consistency for nearly 2 decades. The accomplishments themselves are not debated. What continues to generate discussion is attribution, specifically how credit should be distributed between coaching structure, quarterback excellence, and organizational alignment. Tom Brady retired with 7 Super Bowl titles, 3 league MVP awards, more than 89,000 passing yards, and 649 touchdown passes across his career. Those numbers place him among the most decorated quarterbacks in league history. After leaving New England following the 2019 season, Brady won Super Bowl 55 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, adding a championship outside of his long partnership with Bill Belichick. In contrast, Belichick has not won a Super Bowl as a head coach without Brady as his starting quarterback. That statistical contrast has fueled modern debate about attribution within the Patriots dynasty. However, football is not structured as an individual sport. Quarterback production is influenced by offensive design, protection schemes, personnel usage, and weekly preparation. At the same time, coaching systems depend on quarterback execution in high-leverage moments. Over 20 seasons together in New England, Brady and Belichick operated within a coordinated structure that aligned strategy with performance. Separating one from the other into isolated credit categories risks oversimplifying a partnership built on long-term collaboration. The numbers create comparison points, but the broader context includes shared adaptation, roster evolution, and situational discipline that define the era. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has historically rewarded a combination of championships, longevity, postseason success, and measurable influence on how the game is played. Head coaches such as Don Shula, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, and Joe Gibbs were inducted not only because of titles, but because of sustained competitiveness and structural impact on the league. Shula retired as the all-time leader in wins. Noll won 4 Super Bowls. Walsh helped define the West Coast offense. Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different starting quarterbacks. In each case, voters evaluated both results and broader influence. Bill Belichick's URSM aligns with, and in several categories exceeds, those benchmarks. His 31 playoff victories are the most by any head coach in NFL history. His 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach tie for the most ever. Across 24 seasons in New England, he produced 9 Super Bowl appearances and 17 division titles. By measurable standards, his record of postseason advancement and championship accumulation surpasses many already enshrined coaches. Historically, there is no precedent suggesting that a head coach with that level of achievement would be excluded from Canton once eligible. The formal process has not yet begun in his case, but precedent strongly favors induction based on historical criteria. The phrase Hall of Fame snub in Bill Belichick's case does not refer to an actual vote or formal rejection. He is not yet eligible, and no ballot has been cast. Instead, the term reflects a growing media debate about how future voters might frame his legacy once the process begins. The discussion centers on attribution. Will voters describe him as the primary architect of the Patriots dynasty? Will they emphasize his role as a defensive strategist operating alongside an elite quarterback? Or will they view the era as a dual-driven partnership in which coaching structure and quarterback execution were inseparable? There is also continued reference to controversies such as Spygate in 2007 and Deflategate in 2015. Both incidents received extensive media coverage and league discipline. However, historically, Pro Football Hall of Fame voters have focused primarily on on-field performance, postseason success, and sustained impact on the game. Coaches and players with past controversies have still been evaluated largely through competitive achievement. In Belichick's situation, the debate is forming before eligibility even begins, shaped more by narrative framing than by any official Hall of Fame action. When Bill Belichick eventually becomes eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, his record will reflect one of the most decorated coaching careers in league history. At the time of his departure from the New England Patriots following the 2023 season, he had accumulated 333 regular season victories, which ranked second all-time among head coaches. He also holds 31 playoff wins, the most in NFL history. His teams appeared in 9 Super Bowls, and he won 6 championships as a head coach. Those figures alone place him in rare historical territory. There is no precedent of a coach with that combination of regular season success, postseason dominance, and championship volume being denied induction. Historically, coaches with fewer titles and fewer playoff victories have been enshrined without prolonged debate. The realistic discussion is not centered on whether Belichick will enter Canton, but rather on how that induction will occur. The conversation focuses on whether he will be selected on the first ballot and whether the vote will approach unanimous support. Based on measurable standards and historical comparison, his URSM aligns with immediate induction once eligibility begins. The curiosity surrounding a so-called Hall of Fame snub says more about modern sports culture than it does about Bill Belichick's URSM. In today's media environment, legacy debates often begin before careers officially conclude and long before formal voting takes place. The Brady era reshaped how fans and analysts evaluate coaching influence. At the same time, the Patriots' decline after the 2019 season shifted perception about how credit should be distributed. Yet perception is not the same as Hall of Fame voting history. Voters traditionally examine championships, sustained success, and measurable impact over time. If Belichick were eligible today, his record would include a losing stint in Cleveland, followed by a 20-year dynasty in New England defined by 6 Super Bowl titles and 31 playoff victories. There has been no ballot, no rejection, and no official exclusion. The debate centers not on entry, but on interpretation. How will history balance the partnership that defined an era? Was the dynasty primarily coach-driven, quarterback-driven, or the product of aligned leadership at both positions? Now the conversation moves to you. When Bill Belichick becomes eligible, should he be viewed as the greatest coach in NFL history, or should the Brady partnership reshape how coaching greatness is measured? Share your thoughts below. And if you want more fact-driven NFL breakdowns that separate headlines from historical context, consider subscribing. because sometimes legacy debates begin long before the vote ever happens.